Hello and welcome to Thursday's Nots Today with me, Emma Caldwell. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're doing well today, enjoying some of this sunshine. Here's what's on the show for you today. First, and we'll be hearing some of the stories of long-standing East Midlands airport workers as the site turns 60.
I still think it's a fantastic place to work when I walk in here. It's home from home. I just love the atmosphere, the airport atmosphere. It's like a town to me. This is my town.
60 years, happy birthday East Midlands Airport. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes. Plus, we'll be talking over what new grave decoration rules in Broxtowe could mean for campaigning families. This is after the Borough Council committed to reversing planned enforcement on items like ornaments placed near graves and how a campaign by grieving relatives led to the change. Plus, later on, we'll be meeting some of the dancers at Nottingham's Expressive Arts Academy, chosen to represent England in the Dance World Cup. To raise £10,000 to get to the competition in Spain later on this year, and we'll meet some of them later on in the show to hear all about it and how you can help. And we are just days away from the Easter holidays. Final day at school for my two tomorrow, and we're going to be catching up with Isabel from Off Out Nottingham to find out what you can get up to whilst the kids are off school. There is loads to do over Easter, and we'll be breaking down some of the great family-friendly events to get you out of the house and enjoying some of this weather. Plus, in sports, we're going to be hearing from Notts head coach Stuart Maynard after a strong performance at Meadow Lane saw them comfortably beating MK Dons.
I think you can kind of say almost perfect in every way, in the way that we pressed, the way that we didn't let them have the football. We dominated the ball, we created moments, we got to the byline, we fizzed balls across. We were in great areas and it could have been more.
All that and loads more coming up just for you. But first, we're going to revisit an ongoing issue we've discussed here on the show before, and that's the planned enforcement on families decorating the graves of their relatives across cemeteries in Broxtowe. That's because campaigning families called on the Borough Council to change tact after it was confirmed plans to ask them to take down things like ornaments on the grounds of health and safety. The council agreed to pause the plans for 12 months whilst a solution was found, before then setting out plans to allow some decorations for families who meet certain criteria. Our local democracy reporter Lauren Monaghan joins us now to tell us more. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this. Now, these cemetery rules have gone through some changes since October. So can you take us back to the start? What was the original controversy?
Yeah, so we've been following this one since about October last year. So the original controversy to these restrictive rules was in response to a Broxtowe Borough Council's cabinet meeting in July 2024, where they decided to restrict items that were placed on graves, basically. So this is unofficial surrounds, that's what it's termed. And it's basically decorations, ornaments, tributes, anything you can really think of that you typically see on graves. Caldwell Cemetery was going to be the first of 5 borough-owned cemeteries where they were given a deadline of January this year, actually, where they had to remove their loved ones' items, and if not, then the council staff would have done it themselves. And this was based on health and safety reasons, basically, from the council. They thought that these tribute items posed a risk. So the controversy, it basically made Broxtowe families start a petition in October, and in its first week it nearly got 1,000 signatures, so people supported their cause. And a lot of the controversy actually stemmed from the families believing that they had signed a different form. So cabinet documents from 2009 confirmed, and I'd seen these myself, that the rules had been there, but it only looked like they had updated their notice of interment form. This is what family members sign when they buy a grave plot, basically, from 2023. So this led to a lot of confusion because people and families were basically saying, I didn't sign that form, we weren't aware of what we could or couldn't place on it, basically.
So these rules were suspended for 12 months, weren't they? Because they were going to take all the things off the graves, but actually there was a 12-month suspension on the rules, which was called for because so many people were feeling so passionate about it.
Yeah. So basically in October, not too long after the petition actually, they met with Councillor Milan Radulovic, who is the leader of Broxtowe Council, after one of just the typical council meetings. This is where the families were able to speak to him after. I was present there myself, and this is where Councillor Radulovic agreed to meet with them. So from memory, I think it was about a week after the initial meeting they had with him. This is where Councillor Radulovic called for a 12-month suspension that started from October. And this was about a consultation, so the council and the families making a working group where they can collaborate, work together, find better rules basically, and have these regular meetings.
So there's been some more potential developments. What can you tell us about those?
So part of that collaboration between the council and the families had regularly proposed a set of new rules to the council. These were quite frequently shown. There was a little bit of scrutiny on the council's part, some wording that needed to be changed. But basically what we could potentially see now is that graves that were purchased before August 2023, they can keep their memorial gardens. That's the rectangular plot that it goes over the entire plot. They should be able to keep them. And then anyone that buried their loved one after August 2023, within 2.5 feet of the headstone. So that's a major change that we could potentially see. The rules acknowledge health and safety as well, so any alcohol, metal and spike fencing removed, large plants, glass removed, but it's important to say this is going to go to the next cabinet meeting following the local elections in May. We don't know what the date of that is, but it will be going to the cabinet meeting.
And then finally, what have the councillors, and maybe I'll say more importantly, the families that are involved, what have they had to say about this?
So Councillor Radulovic, the leader, he's said he's strongly in favour of what's happened here. Respectful, it allows people to grieve in their own way. He's hoping for a reset of the rules. And then Lindsay Collins, whose 19-year-old son is buried in Beeston Cemetery, happy and grateful that the council have listened to them. She's still a bit wary because obviously it's not officially approved yet, but there's more of that peace that she's been able to bring to families.
Amazing. Lauren, thank you so much for keeping us updated with that. And of course, we'll keep you updated if we hear more about that. Moving on now. And this week has marked the 60th anniversary of East Midlands Airport, a facility which opened exactly 6 decades ago on Wednesday. Cannot believe that has been there for 60 years. The site, formerly known as Nottingham Airport, even though it's not even in knots, came from humble beginnings and now flies nearly 35 times more passengers each year than in its first. A very special event was marked yesterday with some of the long-serving staff who work there at the airport. And Kira Byrne was there to hear some of their stories.
First opening on this week back in 1965, East Midlands Airport has played a significant role in transport and employment for our region. Originally serving 114,000 passengers in its first year, the airport now annually connects more than 4 million passengers to worldwide destinations. It's also the UK's largest air freight hub, transporting millions of tonnes of cargo and supporting more than 17,000 jobs across the UK. But over the 6 decades, the airport has employed thousands of its own staff, and today staff are looking back at where it all took off. Among them was Tony Hall, an aviation officer who's dedicated 42 years of his life to the airport and is still employed at the young age of 76.
I still think it's a fantastic place to work when I walk in here. It's home from home, and I just love the atmosphere, the airport atmosphere. It's like a town to me. This is my town.
Another long-serving staff member is Tina Dennis, an air traffic control assistant. Tina's various roles at the airport have covered a 36-year period, though her passion started earlier through plane spotting right here with her dad.
We used to, on a Sunday afternoon, we used to bring a picnic and we used to go to the aeroport, which is now under the UPS building, or we went out on the perimeter edge. There's like a lane down there, so we used to have the airband radio and listen to the aircraft and then watch them all come in. It was really cool to get back here and actually get a job. Dad was really proud of me. He loved it, the fact I worked here. He's in East Midlands is really good. It's a little family, so it's really nice to get together.
The airport, which sits on the border of Leicestershire, Notts and Derbyshire, is in its second year of a £120 million investment programme. That includes major security updates, restaurant refurbishments and remodelling the car park and drop-off area to improve the customer experience. Other future plans and developments include the ongoing success of their cargo operation.
I think it's a fantastic day of celebration across 6 decades for all of our colleagues and customers that have grown with this airport. During the day, we're full of passengers travelling on great destinations on their holidays, but at night we come alive with all the cargo operation, moving goods between here and 185 countries around the world. We really see cargo operations as an area for growth for us.
With 60 years of progress, growth and dedicated staff, this airport symbolises a connection that will take off for years to come. Kira Byrne for NOS TV.
Thank you so much for that, Kira, and happy 60th birthday to East Midlands Airport. Right, let's have a look at some more of your news headlines now. First, and a former Nottinghamshire detective constable has been charged with non-recent accounts of rape and sexual assault. 60-year-old Neil Bellamy of Keyworth will appear in Nottingham Magistrates Court tomorrow, charged with 4 counts of rape, as well as assault by penetration and misconduct in public office. It relates to offences committed by the former officer, who retired in 2019, between 2006 and 2007. Nottinghamshire Police say the defendant shouldn't be confused with another force employee with the same name working in its prevention hub. Next, and 2 men have been hospitalised after sustaining knife wounds during a serious assault in Arnold. Emergency services were called to Cornwall Road just before 10 to 2 this morning, Thursday, April the 3rd, after the men, one aged in his 20s and the second in his 30s, were assaulted. Police say they suffered knife wounds, but their injuries aren't thought to be life-threatening. Officers had a police cordon in place and want to know what happened in the moments before, during and after the attack, and anyone who can help should call them on 101. Right, pop and grab yourself a cup of come back after the break, because we are going to be meeting one of the cast members of the theatre production Chicago, and we've got a sports roundup too. That's all on the way next. Welcome back to Thursday's show with me, Emma Caldwell. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's what's happening in NOS today. First, and bus passenger journeys in Nottingham are showing no signs of returning to pre-pandemic levels due to home working. Nottingham City Council's managing director says passenger numbers are about 45 million now, compared with just above 49 million on the 12 months to March 2019. A meeting this week heard the figures are the result of people not commuting to work 5 days a week in the numbers that they're used to, with Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays the busiest days for the bus operator. Next, and a collapsing riverbank will undergo stabilisation work to protect nearby homes from flooding. Erosion is getting steadily worse along parts of the River Meaden in Warsop, with Mansfield District Council reports confirming about £360,000 will be spent on strengthening it. Papers say a section of the embankment first collapsed in winter 2020 due to heavy rainfall, with bags of gravel used as temporary measures to protect a footpath which is at risk of collapsing into the water, alongside 2 trees in the event of heavy rain. Now it's time for our next chat now, and we have a musical theatre classic coming to Nottingham next week. This is my favourite musical by far, Chicago. It's multi-award winning, and it will see former Strictly Come Dancing professional and the brilliant presenter Jeanette Manrara making her debut as leading lady Roxy Hart as she tries to survive a 1920s world of death, drama and some razzle-dazzle too. This show really is as iconic as they come, and speaking of iconic, I am thrilled to say we have Roxy Hart herself, Jeanette Manrara, joining us now to tell us about all that jazz. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Oh my goodness, this is one of the best musicals ever. You must be absolutely thrilled to be part of this.
Oh my gosh, I mean, it's a dream come true, really. I started in musical theater first as a kid, and I actually did Chicago with my dance school back in the day when I was only just getting started with my kind of adventurous career in entertainment. So to now come back and play Roxy Hart, and it's just such a full circle moment. And she's so much fun to play. The show is just, I'm obsessed. I mean, I'm a fan of the show, so I'm the most obnoxious cast member because I'm always excited for a show day.
See, this must be so bizarre to love the show and to now be part of it. I love the show, so you don't need to explain it to me. But for those who might not be familiar, tell us about Chicago and about Roxy.
Well, Chicago is based in the 1920s era, and Roxy basically, she's a dreamer. She has always dreamt about being in vaudeville and being on stage and performing, but she's in, a kind of unhappy marriage. She feels quite stuck in the hamster wheel of boredom in life. So she ends up doing quite a few naughty things to try and make her dreams come true. And she ends up going to jail. She ends up meeting a woman named Velma, who later on becomes her biggest nemesis, shall we say. But then there's a massive plot twist right towards the end of what happens. So you got to come and watch and see, does Roxy get her dreams?
Amazing. And of course, we all know you from Strictly, and we've seen you on the telly doing your dancing and stuff. And this must be such a different mix to be on tour every night, on stage, sometimes twice a day, performing like this. How are you finding it at the moment?
Well, I love it because I'll be honest with you, before I did Strictly, I was part of a show called Burn the Floor. And it was a Broadway touring show, and it came to the West End, and we toured across different parts of the world with it. So I had done the 8 shows a week in the past, but it was only dancing. I didn't have to sing and act. There was no lines in that show. It was just dancing. So to kind of delve into my singing voice and, really look after the vocal cords now is a totally different machine from what I'm used to. But, the cast are phenomenal. Specifically, DJ, which is my Velma. She's the same age as I am. We're both moms. We're both on the road, missing our babies. And she's just been so supportive and giving me tips on the singing and how to look after my voice and make sure that I survive the 8 shows every week. It's just been an amazing process so far.
And I love that because it is a fabulous cast as well. Brenda Edwards as Mama Morton, Dan Burton as Billy Flynn. Like, it's really, really strong as well. What is it, do you think, about Chicago? Because it opened back in 1996. It's been seen by, they reckon, an estimated 34 million people, which is just wild. What is it about Chicago that you just think people love so much?
Well, I think it's timeless. The choreography has not changed since the kind of renovation of it that was done in the 90s. And I think because they've just really stuck to that and not kind of tried to adjust to times or anything, you're getting a classic piece of a show. And not just that, I think nowadays, that's a pun if you get it, nowadays, these kind of stories are still relevant. We still read the papers and we still see awful headlines and we still see things that happen that showcase a really kind of dark side of our humanity. And that's still very relevant today. It's all about the press creating buzz and tabloids of stories that really shouldn't be celebrated that much. And this is what we still have in society these days. So I think it's timeless in what the essence of the show is really about.
And when you're performing night after night, is there one specific song or one part of the performance of the production that you just love doing?
Oh, it changes every night. I'll be honest. Depends on my mood. But I mean, I love doing the Roxy monologue into the Roxy song because it's just so iconic. It's such a memorable kind of moment in the show for Roxy. It's when she kind of becomes this new version of her. And then right alongside that, doing Nowadays into the big Hot Honey Rag choreography with Velma at the end of the show when we close the show. I mean, I pinch myself that I get to do that piece of choreography because, again, that's been danced exactly the same way for the last 50 years by so many iconic women. And so for me to be kind of doing that now I feel very privileged and honored to do it.
We cannot wait to see you at the Royal Concert Hall next Monday right through until Saturday. Jeanette, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Cannot wait for this. Right, it's time for your sport now, and we're starting with Notts County, whose automatic promotion hopes were given a major boost last night when they comfortably saw off MK Dons 3-0 at Meadow Lane. All 3 goals came in the second half, with David McGoldrick's opening the score 2 minutes after the break and Nick Cerula doubling their lead 7 minutes later. The third came through Will Jarvis 20 minutes after that to lift Notts up into 4th, 2 points off the automatic spots. Speaking after the match, head coach Stuart Maynard said it was another professional performance.
I actually thought we were really good in the first 45. I thought our press and intent to get after them, which we said before the game, we knew the football and the opportunities would come. We had to make sure that we set our intent on the game and got the fans behind us, and wow, were they behind us tonight. Like, the place was rocking, it was incredible, and their energy gets onto the pitch, and the energy levels all the way to the 95th minute was incredible. But the second half was some performance. I think you can kind of say almost perfect in every way in the way that we pressed, the way that we didn't let them have the football. We dominated the ball, we created moments, we got to the byline, we fizzed balls across. We were in great areas and it could have been more.
And across the Trents, Forest have got yet another massive Premier League game coming up this weekend when they travel to fellow European chasers, Aston Villa. Saturday's opponents beat Brighton 3-0 away last night to lift themselves into 7th and faced Forest just days before their Champions League quarter-finals with PSG. That one kicks off in the tea-time slots on Saturday evening, and we'll hear from Reds head coach Nuno Espirito Santo tomorrow. Sticking with Forest actually, and tickets have gone on sale for the women's final home match of the season. Carly Davis's side welcome West Brom to the City Ground on April the 27th in what could be the match that decides their title ambitions. They're currently top of the league and unbeaten, equal on points with Wolves, but with a game in hand. Tickets for the West Brom match start from just £6. And in League One, Nigel Clough said he's relishing the chance to face off against former Premier League opposition as Mansfield prepare to travel to Huddersfield on Saturday. The Terriers were the side beaten by Forest in the 2022 Championship playoff final. And speaking after Mansfield's midweek loss to Charlton, another ex-Premier League team, Clough said he's enjoying the challenge.
Looking forward to it, and I think the players should be as well, to go up there and play. You know, we say we're taking nothing for granted, we're not safe, but I think it'll be a brilliant game for us. Yeah, another ex-Premier League club we're visiting, like these tonight that have come to town. It's good times in lots of ways to see these, huge clubs coming to Mansfield and us going to play there. I hope we get a break on Saturday more than anything.
Into ice hockey now, and Nottingham Panthers have two massive games this weekend as they look to secure a long-shot bid at the Elite League title. They know they need to beat league leaders Belfast Giants twice and by massive scorelines too, and also hope for Sheffield Steelers to lose their games. But mathematically, it's still on the cards. And speaking ahead of a huge home and away weekend against Belfast, head coach Danny Stewart said anything can happen.
Belfast is too good of a team to be looking elsewhere. So yeah, no, our preparation, our focus is all on that first game in Belfast. Yeah, it feels good, and look, it's an organizational success, right? It's a collected effort. I think it starts with the higher ups and everything they've done off the ice, and Pash with the recruiting, and has given me the resources to have success as a coach, and then my staff that's with me. The day-to-day staff that's in there, embracing the grind every day, and then finally the players. They've been phenomenal this year, and like I said, it's an organizational success.
Into cricket now, and Nottinghamshire Chief Executive Lisa Pursehouse will step down from her role at the end of the 2025 season. She joined the club in late 2000 as a sales and marketing manager before rising through the ranks and eventually becoming CEO in 2012. It's a role she's held ever since, but she confirmed this week that she's stepping down after more than 2 decades at Trent Bridge. In a statement, she thanked everyone at the club and said there's loads to look forward to, including the ground hosting the Men's Ashes Test in 2027 and 2031. Time for a look at your Thursday picture of the day now, and something green's growing near the Ratcliffe-on-Soar power station. Thank you so much to Rachel Holt for this one. And as for your weather, we've got more and more sunshine on the way for this weekend. Tonight it's going to drop down to 7 degrees, but tomorrow may well be the hottest day of the year so far, up in 20 degrees with sun expected for most of the day. Cannot wait for that. Lows of 5 Saturday, as nice, with highs of 15 and lows of just 5. Right, let's take another short break now. Don't go anywhere though, because we're having a look at what you can get up to with your families over the Easter holidays, plus loads more knots, news, views and conversation coming up next. We'll see you in a sec. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome back to Knots Today with me, Emma Caldwell. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got plenty more on the show. First, concerns have been raised over plans to turn a Gunthorpe pub into a live music and late night drinks venue. Newark and Sherwood District Council will host a licensing panel next week for the Anchor, one of the pubs in the small village on the banks of the River Trent. That's after an application was submitted for a licence to play music, supply alcohol and open the venue to 2 in the morning or beyond, with significant concerns voiced by police, the council and residents. The licensing panel will be held by the council on April the 8th. Next, and all staff members at a Notts Hospital Trust must undergo mandatory dementia training after a patient's family criticised their relative's undignified care. Brian Elgie, a former economics lecturer who had dementia, died aged 75 in October 2023 after being admitted to Kingsmill Hospital with stomach problems. A meeting today heard he was exposed to a catalogue of errors, including lost and incorrect medication and being allowed to wander around unattended. Leaders say changes have been made and all employees are taking mandatory training. Right, let's see what you can get up to tonight with our What's On guide. And if you're after a bit of jazz to get yourself going, get down to Peggy's Skylight in Hogby. It's a fabulous venue where the Nicola Farron Trio are swinging into the city. That one gets going at 7 p.m. and tickets, excuse me, I need to sneeze. Tickets start at £12. Couldn't get away with that one. Or if you're after a giggle tonight, the Horse and Plough in Bingham has its comedy night this evening. It starts at 7:30. Tickets start at just over £11.50. However, if it's murder mystery and that's more your thing, then the Theatre Royal have a showing of Murder on the Orient Express. That Agatha Christie classic starts in the city centre at 7:30 with limited availability. Though there are still some tickets left, starting at £22. And whatever you get up to, have a lovely Thursday evening. Right now though, with the Easter half term looming, you may well be wondering what cracking things you can get up to across our county, whether it's some excellent Easter egg hunts, you see what we're doing with this, for the kids, or just some sunny spring strolls. We've got lovely Isabel Bailey from off out Nottingham to tell us about some of the fantastic family fun things you can get up to over the break. And we join her now. Welcome back.
Hi,
Thank you so much for coming to us.
Thank you.
Well, I'm very well, although I am. When we say looming for the Easter holidays, I was just talking to you beforehand, I feel like my kids are just kind of limping.
It's been a long one, hasn't it?
It feels like it's been a long one. One more day for them to go. Yeah. But what can we do over Easter?
Yeah, so I picked out 4 little Easter events to chat about first. First off, Rufford Abbey are holding an Easter trail. They always do really lovely trails and the grounds are so nice and it's going to be such lovely weather next week apparently. So I've got 4 outdoor events which, whew, that'd be nice. Belvoir Castle have a circus themed trail and they've got a circus coming at the end of the holidays as well.
I haven't been to a circus in ages.
I know, yes, it'd be nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so that sounds good. Newstead Abbey are holding a golden peacock egg trail. Oh. So I thought that sounded a bit different. So obviously got the peacocks there, haven't they? So they've themed it around that. And then
I'd love it if the peacocks are just there holding on to the eggs.
You never know, you never know. And then Wheelgate are holding a big Easter event. They've got an egg hunt, meet the Easter Bunny. Obviously they've got the rides, the soft play, everything as well. I wanted to highlight it because they've got a half price offer on Planet Offers. So it's £34 for a family ticket, which I thought was quite good value for an Easter sort of main day activity.
Twin Lakes is a whole day out as well.
Yes,
Sometimes you go to these places.
As well.
Sorry, Wheelgate as well. There's like a full-on day out.
Yeah,
sometimes you go for a couple of hours.
And the kids just didn't want to leave.
Yeah,
they really enjoyed it.
Love that.
And then just want to quickly chat about some free activities as well. So Derby and have their dinosaur trail back. We're going to head there tomorrow and see what that's all about. IKEA are holding a trail. John Lewis are holding a trail. So I know we talked before about some of these shops that are holding like free activities. It looks really good. The second week, the weather's not looking so good. So some of these indoor activities might be the best bet.
And I get to do a bit of shopping at those events as well. Come down to a trail, I say to my children.
Put them in. And then another outdoor one, I just spotted today, Ruddington Yarn Bomb have done a knitted carrot trail. It's always so lovely and they've got a nice Easter display that they've put up as well. It's always really lovely. We normally go to that one. You just around the shop windows and they've got the market on this weekend as well. So that's always a really nice one and it's completely free. Get a little treat at the end as well. And then if we've got a little bit more time.
Oh, we've got plenty of time, don't
brilliant.
you worry.
I've rushed through.
2 more minutes, don't you worry.
Just want to chat some free things to do. So obviously, my page is all about like free things as well. It doesn't have to break the bank. There's so many free things to do as well. So I'm always sort of highlighting these. Some lovely walks, Highfields, Gedling Country Park, Thorsby, always do like such nice things as well. But it is, it's free to enter, which is nice.
I haven't walked around Thorsby for ages.
Oh,
maybe that's what I'm going to do.
Up there, so,
did you?
Yes, so it's a very special place for us.
Lovely.
And the libraries, they've got all holding some free Easter activities. They've got trails and some crafts and stuff as well. There's some free museums, Mansfield Museum, Erewash Museum, Greens Windmill, Woollerton unfortunately no longer free, but they've just introduced a charge for that. And
but it is, am I right in thinking once you pay you can go all year for that?
All year, and they've got a new dinosaur exhibition, so we're hoping to check that out soon. But yeah, it's £15 for the whole year and kids are free.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then some play areas as well. We've got some really lovely big play areas in Nottingham. Rufford Abbey have got an amazing massive play area. Mark Eaton Park as well, just outside into Derby. They've got a massive play area too. There's Rushcliffe Country Park as well. I've just had a big refurbishment.
They have. We were there last weekend.
Oh, did you? Yes, it's lovely there. And they've got a nice little sensory trail in the woods. I don't know if you found that just down the side. Yeah, it's really lovely, isn't it?
And it is that really nice place. When you go to the parks, we've got so many beautiful parks across Nottinghamshire. It is just that moment to sort of take a breath, because everything feels very fast and you've got to do this and this and this. But actually when you go out and
take some duck food, feed the ducks, you know, it's just nice to take a little bit of chill time, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's so much stuff that's going on. I just want to talk back again, you mentioned the libraries, and I just think libraries are sometimes underrated. If you don't go to libraries with your kids, they are just such, even if you just go, read a few books. Most of the libraries now have children's areas in them.
If you've not been for a while, you won't believe it, because it's not like it used to be. The children's areas are all so lovely. Lots of them have been refurbished recently as well. Beeston Library, Stapleford Library, all, you know, beautiful children's areas, amazing books. Lots of activities, all got hunts going on as well. So I would definitely recommend it.
Now, you have done something wonderful, which I absolutely love, and put on your socials a whole list, because I know we've talked about it, but it's all very quick and people are going, hang on, where can I go?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Tell us about that list and where we can find it.
So you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I've put full daily guides for the first week up already, and then I've also got the blogs that have got all the events listed. You can just find whatever events you're looking for. So yeah, hopefully it's helpful to everybody to find things to do.
It really is. As a mother, I say thank you very much, because I love the Easter one, and I'm already looking forward to the summer one as well. Isabel, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, there's so much stuff going on. Right, let's take another look at your top story today. And this week has marked the 60th anniversary of East Midlands Airport, a facility which opened exactly 6 decades ago yesterday. The site, formerly known as Nottingham Airport, even though it's not even in knots, came from humble beginnings and now flies nearly 35 times more passengers each year than in its first. A special event was marked yesterday with some of the long-serving staff who work at the airport, and Kira Byrne was there to hear their stories.
First opening on this week back in 1965, East Midlands Airport has played a significant role in transport and employment for our region. Originally serving 114,000 passengers in its first year, the airport now annually connects more than 4 million passengers to worldwide destinations. It's also the UK's largest air freight hub, transporting millions of tonnes of cargo and supporting more than 17,000 jobs across the UK. But over the 6 decades, the airport has employed thousands of its own staff. And today, staff are looking back at where it all took off. Among them was Tony Hall, an aviation officer who's dedicated 42 years of his life to the airport and is still employed at the young age of 76.
I still think it's a fantastic place to work when I walk in here. It's home from home, and I just love the atmosphere, the airport atmosphere. It's like a town to me. This is my town.
Another long-serving staff member is Tina Dennis, an air traffic control assistant. Tina's various roles at the airport have covered a 36-year period, though her passion started earlier through plane spotting right here with her dad.
We used to, on a Sunday afternoon, we used to bring a picnic, and we used to go to the aeroport, which is now under the UPS building, or we went out on the perimeter edge. There's like a lane down there, so we used to have the airband radio and listen to the aircraft and then watch them all come in. It was really cool to get back here and actually get a job. Dad was really proud of me. He loved it, the fact I worked here. In East Midlands is really good. It's a little family, so it's really nice to get together.
The airport, which sits on the border of Leicestershire, Notts and Derbyshire, is in its second year of a £120 million investment programme. That includes major security updates, restaurant refurbishments and remodelling the car park and drop-off area to improve the customer experience. Other future plans and developments include the ongoing success of their cargo operation.
I think it's a fantastic day of celebration across 6 decades for all of our colleagues and customers that have grown with this airport. During the day, we're full of passengers travelling on great destinations on their holidays, but at night we come alive with all the cargo operation, moving goods between here and 185 countries around the world. We really see cargo operations as an area for growth for us.
With 60 years of progress, growth and dedicated staff, this airport symbolises a connection that will take off for years to come. Kira Byrne for NOS TV.
Thank you so much, Kira. Right, let's take a look at some more of your news headlines now. First, and 2 cannabis farmers will spend the next year behind bars after being caught at home growing the plants in Aspley. Shamal Jijar and Dennis Carney were found inside a property after police used a battering ram to get inside it on March the 1st this year. A search of the property found both suspects as well as 52 plants growing inside and lots for another grow in another room. 23-year-old Jijar and 25-year-old Carney, both of no fixed address, later admitted to producing cannabis in Nottingham Crown Court. They were both jailed for a year. Next, and police are appealing for help after a football supporter's car was stolen near Meadow Lane during a Notts County match. The supporter, a man in his 50s, parked his car on Ironmonger Road, which is around the corner from the stadium, ahead of attending the club's home game with Chesterfield on March the 15th. Upon returning, he found his Ford Mustang was no longer there, and police inquiries suggest it was driven away at about 20 to 2 that afternoon. Police say anyone who can help with their inquiries should call them on 101. All right, pop and grab yourself a cuppa and come back after this final break, because when we get back, we're going to be hearing whether people are happy about major roadworks ending and a new cycle lane being complete, and all that, plus loads more Notts news on the way. Hello, welcome back to the final part of Thursday's show with me, Emma Caldwell. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're okay today. Here's some more of what's happening in Notts today. First, and small high street businesses across Rushcliffe can apply for grants of up to £5,000 from the council. The financial support is there to help businesses with accessibility, energy efficiency, their digital presence and their shop fronts too, with the grant able to support up to 70% of any projects to a maximum of £5,000. The council says the funding is particularly aimed at small businesses in retail, hospitality and leisure and is aimed at boosting the high street. More details are available on the council's website. Next, and Gedling MP Michael Payne isn't stepping down from his role as a borough councillor, despite a neighbouring MP doing the same. The Labour politician was the deputy leader of Gedling Borough Council until he was elected to Parliament last July and isn't seeking re-election onto Nottinghamshire County Council next month. His neighbouring politician, Michelle Welch, who's now MP for Sherwood Forest, is stepping down from her Porchester Borough Council seat, and a by-election will be held in May. But Mr Payne said he isn't doing the same in Redhill. Next, and a new cycle lane that has caused congestion for months is finally complete. Porchester Road's new cycle-friendly system has split opinion amongst residents, with some questioning just how much use it will get. Lucy Marshall went and asked locals what they think.
This cycling lane on Porchester Road near Mapley has been under construction for around 8 months, bringing large periods of roadworks and disruption. But no more, as phase 1 of the revamp is now complete. The £1.7 million upgrade features a segregated 2-way cycle path that begins near Burgas Road and finishes at Cherrywood Gardens. It's been funded by the government, and some people here are happy with the council's green commitment, even with months of roadworks.
I think cycle lanes are always a good thing. I think we need more. There's going to obviously be a little bit of disruption while they're put in place, but I think anything that gets people on their bikes and out of their cars is positive, really.
But others believe that the money could have been better spent.
Absolute waste of time and money.
It's took them I would say about 6 months to put it all in. I think it's a waste of time, and if you're saying it's cost like 1.7 million, that is absolutely ridiculous when that money could have been spent better elsewhere.
And there's probably things they could have prioritised before the cycle path, if I'm being honest.
It's the potholes that want doing.
Nottingham City Council was awarded government cash as part of its plans to make the city more pedestrian and cycle friendly. But some aren't convinced that the lane will get much use.
Do you think there are many cyclists that cycle round here?
1 or 2, yeah.
No, not at all. I think on Porchester Road you probably see 1 cyclist, if that.
While filming, 3 cyclists passed us on Porchester Road, and a couple of those preferred to take their own route. Motorists complained that they've been heavily inconvenienced by the roadworks, and others said that they had been without their usual bus service for months, but that hadn't been the case for everyone.
It's sort of at the bottom of our road, but it didn't really impact either of us. I tend to get the bus in to work anyway. So.
The work isn't finished yet. Phase 2 includes introducing new one-way and two-way cycle paths around the area, connecting to the existing route, and work has already started.
They're starting phase 2 now.
Yeah.
More, yeah.
So more traffic. I don't even know who wanted a cycle lane.
We asked the council if someone would speak on camera, but nobody was available. However, council leader Nagat Khan previously said, "We're giving people real alternatives to car travel, reducing congestion, improving air quality, and making our streets safer for everyone." As this work continues, opinion is still split, and only time will tell whether these new lanes will pedal towards a greener future. Lucy Marshall for Notts TV.
Right, it's time for our final chat of the show now, and a Nottingham Dance Academy has just been selected to represent England at the Dance World Cup for the 7th year in a row. 13 dancers from the Expressive Arts Academy will be setting off to Spain in the summer, when they will compete against other groups from all across the globe. But in order to get there, the Academy has started a fundraiser to help get those girls to the podium. And here to tell us more is Amal Farzi, Principal of the Academy, as well as dancers Georgia Walster and Esme Watts. So welcome to you all. Thank you so much for coming in today. Amal, let's start with you. This must be incredibly exciting. What's the process like to get to the Dance World Cup?
Well, it's by video submission, but there are absolutely hundreds. As you can imagine, there's hundreds of dance schools, thousands. So everybody wants to apply. It's the biggest competition in the world. 71 countries are involved, and only 5 children get selected per genre to actually represent their country at that competition.
I mean, when that email pings through or that phone call goes, that must have been
wild.
I
mean, the body, the whole shakes the whole night before, sleepless nights when you know the results are coming through. But yeah, the excitement to run in the studio and, you know, be able to tell them all, it's
amazing.
Just, yeah.
And Georgia, how did you feel when you found out you were going to be representing your country?
I was really happy, but especially this year, because I qualified as a soloist.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I cried.
Did you? So what will you be performing as your solo? Do you know yet?
Yeah, it's commercial.
Okay. What does commercial mean?
It's a bit like
what you see all the backing dancers of all the pop stars that go on tour is sort of our commercial dance explained in a nutshell.
And how do you prepare for something like this? Have you already started practicing?
Oh yeah, I've got my routine finished.
Wow, okay. And how many times a week are you going through that now?
I can't count.
Multiple. And we've got Easter next week and we've got jam-packed. As you can imagine, it's no rest. It's all work.
I imagine. And Esme, for you, how did you feel when you found out you were going to be heading off to Spain?
I couldn't believe it because it's the year I've got the most routines in. I think I'm doing 5.
Wow.
And I was really happy to get my outcareer duet in because I'm dancing with one of my best friends and we're dancing together for 10 years.
Well, oh, that must be amazing. So how old are you both, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 17.
Okay.
I'm 19.
So you're still studying as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you fitting in all this dance as well?
I'm at Dance College, Mad College in Nottingham, and that does help with my training because I'm dancing every day.
Amazing. I'm so excited for you. But of course, with something incredible like this is a massive financial commitment, I imagine. How much does it take to get to something like this?
I mean, to take 13 kids over there, you're looking at 10,000 plus to get them over there. Just costumes alone as well, because we've got 3 acro group routines and a contemporary group routine. We qualified with 5 solos and a duet, so it's a lot to costume. We are doing fun days, we are doing Tesco backpacks, we are doing raffles, we are reaching out to local businesses in Nottingham to come and support us. If they can do anything for us, that would be amazing. They can find us on our social media if they would like to reach out and help. But we're doing everything we can.
So presumably, even though you're representing your country for this, there's no funding that you get given for this?
Unfortunately, there is no kind of funding. We have managed though, I do have to mention the Nottingham Council. They have a talented pot and they have given us £3,000 towards that collectively for the girls. So that's a really nice start for us with that.
So how long do you have to raise this money?
Well, we fly out on the 3rd of July, so time is ticking to get all these costumes bought and rehearsed in. So yeah, we are really trying to get as much awareness out there as we can at the moment.
Well, I think you're doing amazingly, and I know there's so much prep that goes into this for you girls at the moment. So 13 of you heading over there. What is the one thing that you are most looking forward to about being out there? Esme, what about you?
Dancing on the stage. It's literally the highlight of the whole thing. Like, the run-up is stressful, but when I get up there, it's just like, it was all like worth it.
And what about the pressure with being at a World Cup? I mean, that's huge. What about you, Georgia?
I always look forward to after we've done it, because before, obviously, we're all so panicked and stressed out that once after we've done it, we all can come together and actually appreciate dancing with each other and like how proud we are that we've put in all the effort to get to that point.
Amazing. So now let's talk about the fundraising just before we finish. How can people find out more and get involved and support you?
If they could log on to our social media, Expressive Arts Academy, whether it's Facebook, we have got a funding page linked to that on our Instagram as well. So if you could, the girls last year brought back gold, silver and bronze medals. So, you know, you're backing so much talent here, and I want every one of them to have an opportunity. And the youngest girl we're taking is also 10 years old.
Wow.
You know, and one of the girls, it was the first time they'd ever been abroad. So it's all of these experiences.
It's such an incredible experience, bringing it back for Nottingham. We love it. Thank you so much for telling us about it today.
Thank you.
Now from dancing to football, as we remind you about last night's Team Talk, where Mark Shardlow and Charlie McParland were joined by former Notts and Forest defender Kelvin Wilson to discuss all things Mansfield County and Forest. Part of the discussion this week was whether Mansfield have done enough this season to avoid relegation and pull themselves away from Brighton in the relegation zone. Catch the full show on demand right now at nottstv.com or via YouTube. But here is some of the Stags chat.
Without depending on anybody else. But don't get me wrong, it's nice to get a little bit of help.
Yeah.
And hopefully they lose their next 2 games, and Mansfield get a win, right? And that's it. I think 51, 52 shot, and I think 50 may do it, but you better be sure win 2 games.
I was going to say, yeah, don't rely on Burton's results. You know, that's the last thing you want to do. But like Chaz said, yeah, you do hope you get a little bit of help on the way.
But take care of your own business.
100%, yeah, first and foremost.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at 2 wins, I think, to be certain. Let's have a look at the next few fixtures and see what's coming for Mansfield Town then. Not easy, away at Huddersfield, and then another midweek game next week, home to Orient.
All right, time for a last look at your picture of the day now. Something green growing near the Radcliffe-on-Soar power station. Thank you so much to Rachel Hobb for this one. And as for your weather, we've got more and more sunshine on the way for this weekend. Tonight it's going to be dropping down to 7 degrees, but tomorrow may well just be the hottest day of the year so far. A whopping 20 degrees with sun expected for most of the day. Definitely worth heading out and about tomorrow. I know it's the final day of school for a lot of people, but though sunshine is going to be amazing. It's looking nice on Saturday too, with a high of 15 and a low of just 5. And that's the end of the show. Thank you, as always, to our brilliant guest today. I'll be back at the usual time tomorrow to guide you into the weekend. But until then, from everyone on the team, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm Emma Caldwell. Bye-bye.